Oh boy, white cis women, we need to talk. Take a deep breath and let's talk. Some of you just now reacted to me saying cis. That defensiveness comes from white supremacy culture. It's okay to be all up in your feelings like that, but it's not okay to use your feelings as an excuse to harm others. We need to pause, allow ourselves to feel our feelings, and process through why those were the feelings that we had. Then you can address the underlying thought that caused that feeling. Only when we have thoroughly processed our feelings and the underlying thoughts will we be in a position to respond appropriately with kindness and thoughtfulness.
All right, so y'all not about to like what I gotta say, but I'm about to say it. So I'm about to call out the trans community on a lot of bullshit, and I'm not coming to you guys as a female to male trans man. I'm coming to you guys as a biological woman, because that's what I am at the end of the day. Yep, I said that. First and foremost, the original intent behind the trans community was to illustrate the difference between sex and gender. Your sex being your biological makeup, and your gender being how you would like to be socially regarded in regards to pronouns like he, him, she, her, they, them, and all the other ones in between. But I'm starting to sense a different tone that's actually been happening within the trans community over the course of like maybe the past 3 to 5 years. And that is the hijacking and ultimately the erasure of the woman.
All right, guys, so this article right here is going viral because it's exactly what people with common sense, anybody that's paying attention to what's going on, have been saying is going to happen. What the woke revolutionaries want when it comes to this conversation about gender and sex. Because, you know, originally what they said is that sex and gender are different. They're two different things, okay? And they would smear and mock conservatives as ignorant of gender ideology, when conservatives would say, no, gender and sex is the same thing. If you are a male, then that means you are a man. If you are a female, then that means you are a woman, okay? They mocked you for it. They said you was stupid, you was dumb, you didn't understand, you was uneducated, you didn't know because you didn't go to college, right? I didn't hear about this until I went to college, okay? But I'm just saying, this is what they said. Now, all of a sudden, they've done exactly what we knew they were going to do, and now they're basically trying to say sex and gender are the same thing, except that sex is not biological, right? It is basically gender, okay? Sex is like gender. You can basically choose your sex. And that leads me to this article right here that came out in the Telegraph that basically is a prime example of what I'm talking about, okay? As woke scientists are calling to phase out binary language, okay? They want to use terms like egg producing and not female, right? So egg producing, not female, okay? Again, they're trying to basically, you know, get rid of what it means to be a woman, and you're seeing it right before our eyes. So let me read a little bit of this, and then I want to get into this epic TikTok or video from this trans man who is going to set his comrades straight, the LGBTQ community straight, on the fact that women feel like they're being erased with the language that is being used by the trans community to describe biological women. So first, let me read this, because this right here is crazy, but it should not be surprising that you have woke scientists pushing for this. So let's read here. The words male and female should be phased out in science because they reinforce ideas that sex is binary, scientists have suggested. Wow. Apparently sex is not binary anymore. Again, you see how they rewrite everything, right, to fit a certain agenda? Researchers studying ecology and evolutionary biology should be encouraged to use terms such as sperm-producing or egg-producing or XY/XX individual to avoid emphasizing heteronormative views, experts say. Wow. Other words and terms deemed problematic include man, woman, mother, father, primitive, advanced, alien, invasive, exotic, non-native, and race. Yeah, so basically all languages in the human vocabulary that used to describe people are now going to be banned, right? They're going to be banned because they're offensive to people who don't feel like any of these words describe them perfectly, okay? They're a small minority of people, but those small minority of people, for whatever reason, have the most power, right? And they can just literally change science. Again, so it seems. The terms were gathered as part of the EEB, Ecology and Evolutionary Biology Language Project, founded by a collaboration of scientists in the US and Canada who claim some terminology is not inclusive and could be harmful. I am so sick and tired of this word harmful. Okay, everything that the left doesn't agree with is harmful, right? Everything that's against woke ideology is harmful. Amazing. Even one of the most famous scientific concepts of all time, the survival of the fittest, should no longer be used because it discriminates against people with disabilities and is linked to eugenics, they advise. Speaking about the term fitness, widely used in biology to signify the success of a species in its habitat, Haley Branch, a doctoral candidate at the University of British Columbia, said, quote, the definition is about reproductive output, which doesn't take into account individuals that don't produce offspring. I mean, man, do these people not realize that you're not going to be able to be inclusive of everybody, right? Language is meant to be used to be descriptive. By definition, you're supposed to be excluding people when you're trying to describe somebody, right? When you're trying to describe things, you got to be specific about what you're describing or you're not saying anything at all. Okay, so you guys get the gist of this article, okay? They're quite literally trying to change science or the definition of scientific terms to fit a woke ideology. And that brings me to this video right here that I stumbled across that I think is just truly, a fascinating video. As you have this biological woman who transitioned to be a trans male. She is going to post a TikTok basically, trying to set her fellow trans community colleagues straight on some of the language that is being used to describe biological women and how that is not actually productive for the community, and I guess trying to assimilate in society and have equal and fair treatment like they claim they want. So without further ado, I want to roll this clip.
All right, so y'all not about to like what I gotta say, but I'm about to say it. So I'm about to call out the trans community on a lot of bullshit. And I'm not coming to you guys as a female to male trans man. I'm coming to you guys as a biological woman. Because that's what I am at the end of the day. Yep, I said that. First and foremost, the original intent behind the trans community was to illustrate the difference between sex and gender. Your sex being your biological makeup, and your gender being how you would like to be socially regarded in regards to pronouns like he, him, she, her, they, them, and all the other ones in between. But I'm starting to sense a different tone that's actually been happening within the trans community over the course of maybe the past 3 to 5 years. And that is the hijacking and ultimately the erasure of the woman. And so now I, as a trans man / biological woman, have to come up and come out of my identity and go back to my biology and say, hey, y'all need to goddamn motherfucking stop. Because there's this thing where we want to kind of broaden out what it means to be a woman and say, oh, well, they're birthing persons, or they're people who menstruate, or they're breastfeeding persons, and all this bullshit that I just can't stand with. Because at this point, we're trying to erase the biology behind what it means to be a woman. And that's not what we're about to do. I'm not about to do it with y'all. And I get it. Y'all want to do it for the sake of inclusion, but no, that's not inclusive. That's called erasure. That's literally erasing an entire gender and what it means to be that specific gender from a biological standpoint. And I thought that that's the very thing we were trying to separate when it pertains to gender was the biology. But it appears that we're just trying to erase it. You're trying to erase the biology, and that's what we're not about to do. So now I have to set aside my identity and go back to my roots to reaffirm women, to let y'all know that we're not about to do that. And the moment I see a trans person trying to do that and say, oh, the people who mentioned, nah, we're not about to do it, because we're not doing that to the men. It sounds like misogyny. We don't say men that they're persons who ejaculate. We don't say persons who have boners. We don't do that. But why are we doing that to the women? Why? Oh, misogyny, okay. And this is primarily why the world does not take our community serious, because we do shit like this. We do shit that literally does not make sense and does not even remotely align with what we were originally trying to do. And so that's why I'm like, nah, I don't associate with that. So if you don't like my message, I don't even care, because you're proving the world right about our fucking community. I really wish that this was a joke, but I'm almost 100% certain that it's not. So this person says, respect due to you. As a fellow trans brother, I respectfully cannot agree, as I can't fully stand with cis women against my trans sisters. Alright, bro. First and foremost, I don't have any respect for you after this statement, because it is only revealing your willful ignorance. So, women have spoken out, bro. They are telling us, verbatim, that they do not want to be called cis women. That they don't want to be called and referred to as birthing persons, or people who can menstruate, or chest feeding persons. No, they want to be referred to as women. And somehow, by me acknowledging and respecting that very simple fact, that somehow would pin me against trans women. Why is it that trans women and women can't exist next to each other? Why is it that we can refer to trans women as women, but we can't refer to fucking women as women? That is the mockery that this community is creating. And that I will not stand with, my dude. And this is the mental gymnastics that I told people I would not perform when it pertains to religion, politics, social issues, because this is what it creates. It creates people who think like you. It creates people who do not want to be mentally and intellectually honest when it pertains to a particular subject. Women are quite literally telling us that they want to be called women, and that is it. And so, because of that simple fact, I will call women women, and that is it. So if you don't like that, you can take your bullshit elsewhere.
Facts. Right, facts. I mean, again, I couldn't have said it better myself. This person is pretty based, okay? Look, let me tell you something. I have no issues with somebody like that, okay? Hey, this person, he, she, whatever you want to call them, respects women. He's like, look, I acknowledge that I'm a biological woman, and it is what it is. You know, being a man is my identity. That's how I want to live. But I'm not trying to impede on women's rights, or I'm not trying to, you know, refer to women as, you know, I don't know, egg producing, or call them cis or anything like that. Like, women are women. Women are telling us that they don't like the way we're being referred to. They don't like the way that they're being marginalized, okay, and how their womanhood is being taken away. And this person respects that. I have no issue with this person whatsoever. Zero, none. I would sit down and have a beer with that person. I would be friends with that person. Because this person is simply just, again, grounded in reality, right? They understand basic biological facts. But to answer this person's question in regards to why in the world is, you know, people trying to, you know, do more to the point where it goes against the original intent of their movement, is because they've got everything that they want, right? I mean, there are no rights that trans people don't have. When you start talking about LGBTQ rights, it's got into the realm of the right to have teachers talk to kids about sex, the right for kids to be exposed to like drag queens and stuff like that, the right for biological men to use women's restrooms. Those are not rights, right? They're privileges. They're special privileges. You're fighting for special privileges and rights. That's how you get to that point, because all the basic rights are there. All the basic rights are there. And again, that's the problem. It's when, you know, it's these special rights and privileges. It's wanting to be treated special, wanting, again, to be able to do what other people can't do. You can't go and teach the Bible in school, so why in the world should you be teaching gender ideology in school? You can't. You shouldn't be able to do that. So, you know, like I said, man, we see what's happening, right? Like, this is what's happening, okay? You got a movement to essentially try to erase what it means to be a biological man or biological woman, and it just doesn't make sense, right? We really are living in cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.